sportsmanship to grow and remain strong for many years to come. We encourage our teams, players, coaches, and fans to be good sports during tonight's contest. Please be proud of your team, coach.
Good evening and welcome to Ray Skillman Stadium at Center Grove High School for tonight's Indiana High School football controlled scrimmage between the Brownsburg Bulldogs and the Center Grove Trojans. Hello, one. I'm Kevin Conrad along with Rick Embry. We welcome everyone to our coverage of Center Grove football presented tonight by IU Health. Rick Embry, steamy night. It's 89 degrees. It feels like 94, and we're kind of starting where we left off last year at Center Grove, Brownsburg. They played here back in the semi-state. Brownsburg got the win then, and then went on to win the state title in 6A last year. And here we are again with the controlled scrimmage.
Always that time of year, Kevin, when hope springs eternal. So both these teams, obviously, you look at the beginning rankings of the 6A football teams, and you got Brownsburg at 1 and Center Grove at 2. So, like you said, a tough, heartbreaking loss last year in the semi-state here when Center Grove got intercepted in the end zone, down by 4, and Brownsburg then went on to win the state championship. So they kind of got the monkey off of their back, and they're absolutely loaded, especially on offense, coming back this year. And for this Center Grove team, a lot of optimism and expectations. You've got a fantastic, huge offensive line that's going to anchor that offense, and you've got a lot of talented skill positions on both offense and defense.
So let's go through the format for tonight's controlled scrimmage. They're going there with what we call option B. You have two options for this controlled scrimmage, Center Grove and Brownsburg going with option B. So there will be no special teams tonight. Should not be any field goal kicking, no punting. So one team will go 15 plays on offense, and then they'll rotate. The other team will take it for 15 plays on offense, and then they'll take a 4-minute break, and then 10 plays. And I should say on that, those opening 15 plays, they're going to put it at the 35-yard line. And then the second round of plays, there'll be 10 plays each. They'll put it at the 10-yard line. Then they'll take another 4-minute break, and then they'll do 12 plays from the 35. And then they'll go a 2-minute break, and then they'll do 8 plays each, another 4-minute break, and then they'll finish up with another 8 plays. So basically they'll move the ball around the field to different locations. Again, Rick, this is all about just to see what you have, work on some things, get your team on game film and work on some plays before the regular season begins next Friday night.
Yeah, it's one of those things too, Kevin. Obviously these guys have been working all summer, and then the last 2.5 weeks they've been beating up on each other. So it's nice to have the different look out there where you can go tackle somebody else. You tackle somebody in purple versus somebody in red and white like Center Grove has done the last 2.5 weeks. So you obviously get some chances to see guys that have looked good in practice. Now can they translate that to game situations, especially guys that are inexperienced and maybe just played JV last year but didn't get a lot of varsity action. Obviously this Brownsburg team is going to have a lot of new guys on defense, and for Center Grove you got a couple of those spots. The biggest one obviously for Center Grove, Kevin, that we're going to be very interested to watch is at that quarterback position, and the super sophomore Oscar Sloan. Very, very talented kid, but he's very limited as far as varsity experience, only threw 9 passes last year, but he's got some big-time D1 offers already as a sophomore, and I'm excited to watch him.
So again, tonight, the controlled scrimmage here at Ray Skillman Stadium. Steamy nights. Feels like 94 degrees out there on that field, maybe a little hotter on that turf field. It's number 1 in 6A, Brownsburg, taking on Class 6A number 2, Center Grove. We'll take a break and be back with tonight's controlled scrimmage. Tonight's game presented by IU Health. This is Trojan Football.
This is the place that's skill built. Here, highly skilled physicians never rest in their pursuit to heal, to comfort, to cure. With these hands, you'll receive nationally recognized heart care and Indiana's most leading-edge cancer care. With these hearts, with these guts, with these brains, you'll find the highest level of care in the state. This is the hope that's skill built, and it's around every corner of Indiana University Health.
Hi, I'm Amanda Johnson, owner of the Barn at Bayhorse and the Stables at Bayhorse Inn. We're proud to support the Center Grove football program and are fortunate to host many sporting banquets, teacher appreciation events, fundraisers, and more. We invite you to the stables at Bayhorse Inn, offering various horse riding lessons in smaller meetings and event spaces. Thank you, Center Grove, for creating beautiful memories and meaningful experiences with us over the last 7 years. Book your next event with us at barnatbayhorse.com and follow us on social media.
Some people spend all day washing and buffing their ride to shiny perfection by hand. But you've learned the fine art of delegation.
Back inside Ray Snowman Stadium, moments away before tonight's controlled scrimmage between Brownsburg and Center Grove. Kevin Conrad, Rick Embry with you tonight, high atop Ray Skillman Stadium. All I got to say is I'm glad we're in the Ray Skillman Stadium press box where it's air conditioned. Again, it feels like 94 degrees out there at the moment. And I know, Rick, I'm talking to Aaron Holt, it's been quite a challenge for these young men practicing the last couple of weeks with these very, very intense temperatures. I know sometimes they got to modify practices because of the hot temperatures.
Yeah, and that's one of those things, Kevin. This is a scrimmage ultimately, and your goal is to get out of this healthy as possible. So you might see a couple guys, only get a few reps. It's kind of like watching an NFL preseason game where the starters might go for a series or two and then they're done. Same thing. If you got any guys at all that, got dinged up a little bit in practice this week or whatever, you're not going to see them. So some of the names we talk about on both sides, we might not see them tonight if it's one of those things. So you want to get out of this thing healthy because obviously both these teams start off right off the bat against some impressive teams. Center Grove's going to go to Warren Central. That's a team that Center Grove has eliminated the last 3 years at the regional round, but Warren Central brings back a ton of talent, especially defensively. And then Brownsburg, they face a national power. Spalding, Missouri is who they play. Archbishop Spalding out of Severn, Maryland. So I thought it was Missouri, but it's Maryland. So yeah, that's a very, very good team. And then week 2 they face Cathedral. So right off the bat, they get to the frying pan. Same thing with Center Grove. You not only open at Warren Central, but then you go to Fort Wayne Carroll in a rematch of last year's week 2 action. So both these teams got to be ready come next Friday. So you want to get out of this thing as healthy as possible.
For the Brownsburg Bulldogs head coach John Hartz, he has 3 state titles. Of course, Brownsburg won it last year under Coach Hart. He also had a state title with Warren Central in 2009 and 2007 with Evansville Rights. He's in his 10th year at Brownsburg, 82 wins, 19 losses. His 41st year of coaching high school football, 349 wins, 100 losses, and they play in that very competitive Hoosier Crossroads Conference. And Rick, you look at the coaches poll, the preseason rankings, you got Brownsburg at number 1, Westfield also from that conference at number 3, Hamilton Southeastern number 5, Fishers number 7, and Zionsville also ranked at number 15. So top to bottom, by far the most competitive conference in the state of Indiana.
Yeah, and we've talked about that the last couple years, obviously, since Center Grove and Carmel left the MIC. The HCC has definitely been the best conference in the state. You've had a Westfield team that's been in a couple state championships. They've won a couple at the 5A level, and then when they bumped up to 6A, they faced Center Grove a couple times and lost to Center Grove in the state final. So it is a loaded conference, but they're bringing back arguably, one of the top junior quarterbacks in the class, and that's Oscar Fry, number 18. Last year, 2,445 yards through the air, 23 TDs, only 7 interceptions. He was a key reason why that Brownsburg team beat Center Grove in the semi-state. Plus, they returned their top 2 running backs from last year, and that's Kavon Sumter Bay and Brady Lewis, and their top 2 receivers from last year, junior Braden Sharp, who's getting recruited by all kinds of Division I, Big Ten teams, 1,165 yards last year, 7 touchdowns, and then Avon Robinson, 933 yards and 12 touchdowns. So they have a lot of weapons offensively, and they're going to be a handful and be right up at the top of those rankings all year.
As a program, Brownsburg has won 3 state titles, 1984, 1985, and again, like I mentioned last year, 2024. Now for the Center Grove Trojans, head coach is Eric Moore, 5 state titles with the Center Grove Trojans, 19 sectional championships, including the last 14 in a row. Also under Coach Moore, 18 regional titles, 7 straight, 8 semi-state championships. And for Coach Moore, this is his 27th year at CG, 255 wins, 81 losses. His 31st year of coaching high school football, 303 wins, 86 losses. And for the Center Grove Trojans, they're ranked number 2 in the preseason coaches poll.
Yeah, on one of those seasons last year, Kevin, where people kind of looked at Center Grove like, you didn't have that great of a season, 5-4 in the regular season, but then they win 3 straight in the postseason and lose a heartbreaker, like I said, to Brownsburg in the semi-state. So they return a ton of talent. Looks like Brownsburg's going to be on offense, Center Grove on defense to start things out tonight.
Brownsburg in the all-white uniforms. They'll go shotgun formation, running play to begin tonight's controlled scrimmage. Good yardage on that first carry. Gets it to the 41-yard line. Again, starting from its own 35. That's 6 yards for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, and that's Sumter Bay, like we talked about, 801 yards, 7 touchdowns last year. And Brownsburg's going to go quick. That's what they did all last year, and that's that offense that Coach Hart has for them.
Manning Poston makes the tackle for the Trojans. Once again, right back to number 6, Kavon Sumter Bay. Again, 5'11", 190 pounds, senior running back. Close to a first down. He gets it to the 44. Give him 3 yards.
Yeah, you're going to see some new faces on that Center Grove defense, especially at that linebacker position and some of the defensive backfield. We'll get into those guys as we continue here. 3rd and short, and he barely gets it.
Good job by the Center Grove defense, but he does get a couple of yards for the first down at the 46.
Yeah, some of those guys on that defense, obviously that front 4 needs to be a strength for Center Grove. You got big Kobe Cherry back, number 9, Purdue commit, 6'5", 285. He missed all of last year with an injury, but had a huge sophomore season, 70 tackles, 3 sacks. You got him, you got Jeremy Stanley up front, Lincoln Bright, who's a 3-year starter for Center Grove, and now good pressure on Fry.
Pass incomplete on that previous play. It was the Hayes brothers making the tackle, Frankie and Vinny Hayes.
Yeah, so you've got Stanley, Cherry, Bright, and then Cam Linder, another guy that was out with an injury last year at defensive end, a tall kid, pretty lanky. He's going to get some opportunities first.
Handoff this time going to number 3 for the Bulldogs, Aiden Job, 5'8", 190-pound running back. He is a senior. Couple of yards, and Kobe Cherry gets his name over the PA. Credit for the tackle.
Yeah, a couple of those guys then at linebacker. Frankie Hayes had a big season last year as a junior, 60 tackles. One face to watch is number 11, True Paxson. We had him in a lot of the JV games last year. He is a football player.
Job out of the backfield with the screen pass reception. Good yardage after catch. Knocked out of bounds by Manning Poston, the senior DB.
Yeah, we've already called his name a few times, Kevin. That's one of the guys in that defensive backfield. You're also going to see Vinny Hayes. You're going to see Cooper Pio. Charlie Ane is a name that moves over from the wide receiver position. He's going to get some time in that defensive backfield. So a little bit of a new faces for Center Grove, but some talented kids that are going to get their opportunity.
Job on the ground, gets it inside the Trojan 40 to the 39-yard line. 2nd down and 8. Fry in the gun. Once again, hands it off to Job around the left side. Just shy of the 35. He'll be stopped at the 36.
Yeah, and that was Pio up from that safety position coming up, number 33. Pio last year, 69 tackles, 3 interceptions from Cooper, so he's going to man one of those safety positions. Also, you'll see Nathan Goins back there, Jackson Burnett, Nathan Yoder.
Stands tall in the pocket, delivers a strike to the 30-yard line for a first down. Number 13 for the Bulldogs with the reception.
Well, now
Noah Dearman.
Yeah, now you're going to see some backups coming in both sides of the ball. Probably 6 or 7 of those starters on the defensive side getting a breather, and now you got a new quarterback as well for Brownsburg. Number 7, Weston Wood, junior.
Carter Wells, 5'9", sophomore with the carry. 7-yard pickup. Puts the football inside the 25 at the 23. Second down and short here for the Bulldogs. Once again going right back to 30. Richard Hall, 5'10", sophomore running back. And you're right, Rick, you're seeing a lot of players coming in and out.
Yeah, and like I said, you want to get them some action, and then you got to make sure that they're healthy. So, and you got to, like always, you never know what's going to happen during the course of the season, so you got to build up that depth. Right now, I mean, Brownsburg had success running the ball. Throwing the ball, I think only 1 for 2 maybe, or 2 for 3 from Fry before he exited. So a much better job against the pass than the run so far for Center Grove.
Hall carries once again 5 yards. He is tackled by Reese Epperson, senior linebacker. Football just inside the 15 for the Bulldogs. And you're right, they're doing a really good job with the ground game. Stopped here at the 10, might be just a half yard shy of the first down. Now it's going to be more like a yard shy, 3rd and 1. 22 with the carry. Looks like that's Runana. He's a senior. Once again, he gets the handoff again. He's tripped up inside the 5 at the 3-yard line. 7 yards.
Tripped up by 23, Eli Young. It's 60 play for Brownsburg.
Bulldogs 1st and goal at the 3. Not a very good snap, but the quarterback handles it, and the Bulldogs score. Really good job by the backup quarterback to handle that snap. Again, that's Weston Wood. He's a junior.
Yeah, and a good job by that offensive line. Obviously, the last 30 or 35 yards were handled by the backups, but really good job by that offensive line for Brownsburg. They pretty much controlled the line of scrimmage running the ball and marched it right down the field and scored. So now Center Grove will get the opportunity on offense against the Brownsburg defense. Like I said, a couple returners for Brownsburg defensively, and Eli Richardson, linebacker, 79 tackles, and then a defensive back, Drew Bostic. He had 48 tackles and 1 interception. Other than that, they're pretty young or inexperienced, I should say. Not necessarily young, but guys that haven't seen a lot of varsity action.
Oscar Sloan, quarterback for the Trojans, sophomore. Already a offer from Purdue and many other Division I programs, but still has not started a varsity football game. He will next Friday at Warren Central. He did play a little bit off the bench last season for CG. Trojans run the football. Looks like Reese with the carry.
Yeah, Nolan is the leading returning running back for Center Grove. 109 carries, 599 yards, about 5.5 a carry, 7 touchdowns. But he's one that Coach Moore has said in the past, I need to give him 15 good touches a game. I don't want him to be in the 25 to 30 range because, he's not that big back. But he's going to be a key part to this offense, and he gets the carries the first 2 times.
Trojans sticking to the ground game. Just a few yards to the 40, or 39, I should say. Not quite to the 40.
Well, you're going to possibly see the first opportunity for Oscar Sloan to step back to pass with it 3rd and 6 now.
See McClurg and Kay Timmons split out here to the right, to the near side.
Eli Williams on the other side. New face for Center Grove.
McClurg with the reception, knocked out of bounds, just shy of the 45.
That was a really good job of blocking out there by Kay Timmons, number 6. He is a fantastic blocker out there at wide receiver.
Football's at the 44, so 4th and short.
That's one.
Again, no special teams tonight. Again, no special teams play.
Yeah, that's one of those plays, Kevin, where you're just trying to get Oscar comfortable and just a quick hitter, and then obviously no better person to give that to than Drake McClurg.
Oliver split out top of your screen there to the left. Trojans going to run for the first down. Well done. That's Ricky Lange, the sophomore. He was electric last year on Saturdays for the Trojans, and we're hearing a lot about Ricky Lange, number 4.
Yeah, he's one that's going to kind of sneak up on some people possibly, because you're right, Kevin. He played all freshmen last year. They wanted to give him as many touches as possible, and, man, we saw some unbelievable plays. I still remember the one that he fumbled on his own 3, picked it up in the end zone 2 yards deep, and then proceeded to run 102 yards for a score in one of their games.
Sloan in shotgun formation on first down. Flips it out to the left side of the line of scrimmage. Completed pass to Roman Youngs, freshman, 6'1", 175-pound receiver. Gets it back to, looks like the 50.
Yeah,
no gain.
And that's another face right there that's freshman getting some action in Roman Youngs. You don't see that very often in a Center Grove team, but 6'1", 175 for Roman. Flipped it out there. Good defense by Brownsburg to tackle him after no gain.
Sloan, play action, scans the field across the middle. Incomplete pass right through the hands. 84, the intended receiver. That is Eli Williams. Again, he's a junior wide receiver, 6'2", 185 pounds. He's new to the Center Grove football program, but Rick, we're hearing he's got D1 talent.
Yeah, last year for Perry Meridian, he had 29 catches, 325 yards with 1 TD. So coming over to a new place, but a lot of talent. And, you know, last year, if there's one spot on that offense where they lost a lot of people, it was at that wide receiver position. Drake McClurg is the leading returner, but, I mean, they lost some talent in Hollibar, Baxter as well. So Williams is one of those guys that you're looking to improve on. Now here's a good carry up the middle. That's number 32, another new face on that in that running back position. That's Hudson Winkler Jr. Good quick hitter there for about 4 yards.
We saw Winkler last year somewhat, more so on Saturdays, JV football, but he's very, very capable from that backfield.
That's one thing I love, Kevin, about us doing those freshmen and JV games on Saturdays. You see a ton of these kids playing on Saturdays, and then people that watch only the varsity games haven't seen them as much, but we have, and understand the talent that they possess.
4th down, Sloan looks right, comes back to his left, and pass is dropped. Had it in the hands for a first down, but just could not hang on.
I think that was Young. So
Roman Young's freshman.
A little bit of freshman jitters, but a nice job. And what you're going to see defenses do, Kevin, a ton is obviously key on Drake McClurg until some of those other guys can prove that they can catch the ball. Youngs is going to get an opportunity. Williams is going to get an opportunity. Kay Timmons is going to get an opportunity. One obviously big piece of this offense that not playing out there tonight, he's just got dinged up a little bit in practice this week, is their big tight end, Kevin, and that's Dom Berry, number 2. He'll be a huge part of this team, and he's also a Wake Forest commit for Dom. But Dom last year, 31 catches, 237 yards, and 5 big touchdowns. So that'll be one that they're missing out there tonight, but you'll see him every Friday night be a key part of that offense.
False start against Center Grove. So since the Trojans did not get that first down, they'll bring the football back to the 35.
And they had 8 plays on that one. So Another 7, Kevin. Is that what the first segment is? 15 plays?
Should be 15 plays.
Brownsburg was right at the 15 mark when they scored that touchdown.
Sloan hands it off. Ricky Lange breaking some tackles. Another flag thrown.
That one might be a face mask. I think they got a piece of his helmet as he, yeah, that's what they're going to call. So he actually shook off that face mask and got a first down. So that's a 15-yard, or 10-yard gain there.
Actually, they're going to give him 11 yards for the first down to the 46. That's Ricky Lange. He was a freshman last year, and again, Rick and I doing the Saturday football games, we saw a lot of Ricky last year, and he is electric. He was very good on that run.
Well, it's one of those things, Kevin. Obviously, I think last year, and my memory isn't the greatest, Kevin, getting up there in age like we are, but it seems like last year he was listed at like 5'7", 5'8", 135. Well, this year he's listed at 160, so that's a big part, obviously, is building up that muscle so that you can last.
Pass complete for another first down. Well done by Oscar Sloan, the sophomore. Was that Drake McClurg?
Yeah, Drake McClurg. Nice little pattern there, and Oscar absolutely hit him on the numbers. Really excited to watch Sloan this year. Obviously, you talked about the D1 offers. He's been offered by Cincinnati, Maryland, and, Kevin, most importantly, the best D1 program in the entire state of Indiana. You know where that is?
I'm sure you'll tell me.
It's about an hour and a half northwest of here. It's not, you might be thinking Notre Dame. You might be thinking of that one-year fluke IU. No, it's up there in beautiful West Lafayette. Purdue offered him, and they are very, very high on Oscar. I think he's actually going to be up to watch their opening game next weekend against Ball State, is what I read earlier today.
Second down and 10 for the Trojans. Football at the 34-yard line. A few more plays remaining here for the Trojans.
Now you see some of the offensive linemen come out, and you get some backups in there. But I want to talk about that offensive line for Center Grove. We'll do that after this play.
Sloan rolls right, throws underneath, completed pass. Reese makes the defender miss, and he's inside the 10. 15 makes the tackle for the Bulldogs. Well done by Reese, but there is a flag middle of the field at around the 33, 34-yard line.
Yeah, we'll see what that one is on. If they call that on, it looks like it's on the interior of the line. I thought they might call it on Drake McClurg. He was blocking out here, but he also was getting a hand to the face mask. So we'll see what the call is. But that was a nice, well-designed play. Went for big yards, but looks like it's coming back. Nope, calling it off.
So no penalty.
Hey, it's even a scrimmage for the referees, Kevin. I can't yell at them today because this is just practice, right?
Hey, it's practice for everybody, even practice for us. Hey, we've had the last few months off, so.
Exactly.
We're trying to get back in the groove here tonight.
So that offensive line, Kevin, Center Grove comes back with probably at left tackle is going to be Brady Weber. He's a Ball State commit, number 54, 6'5", 285. You put then next to him, number 72, senior C.J. Cyphers. He's an IU commit, 6'6", 330. More than likely at center, and I'll run this play and then I'll read the rest of them.
From the 11, Ricky Lange trying to go up the middle, bounces it to the outside and scores.
Wow.
I'm telling you, he's special, and he falls.
Man, they better get that fixed over there. I can tell you that.
Yeah, he fell as he went in across the end zone, out of the end zone. I'm glad he's okay.
Yeah, he went down awkwardly over there behind those cones. I don't know what's going on over there, but they need to get that fixed before week 3 when Center Grove's here. But yeah, you're right. He got stuck right at the line of scrimmage, bounced off of it, and then he outran people to the end zone. Also a great job of blocking down the field by, we already talked about him, Eli Williams, 84. He drove his defensive back 5 yards into the end zone. That was a key part of Lange being able to get the corner. So then at center, you got probably number 73, senior Lincoln Madden, 6', 255. And then on the right side of the offensive line, you're probably going to have 3 guys in the mix. 67, 6'6", 250, Charlie Mandebach. He's committed to Grand Valley State. And you also are going to have 6'4", 300-pound senior TJ Knight. And then in the mix probably as well on that offensive line, junior 6'2", 255-pound Parker Hutchins. That's some big fellas there, Kevin.
Trojans with the run off the left side of the line. That looks like a new running back for us, 32. 32
Winkler
is Hudson Winkler. He might have had one carry prior. He's a junior.
I think one more play here for Center Grove.
3 yards for Winkler, and we do believe one more offensive play, and then they'll take a 4-minute break. And when they come back, they'll do 10 plays each. Looks like they'll be at the 10-yard line, kind of like some red zone work, if you will. 2nd down and 7 here for the Trojans. Oscar Sloan, very poised, sophomore at quarterback. Getting some pressure, and they're going to blow the whistle. Again, once the quarterback is near a sack situation, they're going to blow the whistle and make sure that quarterbacks don't take any shots here tonight. And that should be Center Grove's final play. So we'll take a break as the Trojans and Bulldogs take a 4-minute break. They'll get some Gatorade, some water. We'll come back with more of tonight's controlled scrimmage. Both teams scoring a touchdown there on their possessions. This is Trojan Football presented by IU Health.
This is the place that's skill built. Here, highly skilled physicians never rest in their pursuit to heal, to comfort, to cure. With these hands, you'll receive nationally recognized heart care and Indiana's most leading-edge cancer care. With these hearts, with these guts, with these brains, you'll find the highest level of care in the state. This is the hope that's skill built, and it's around every corner of Indiana University Health.
Stay cool during the dog days of summer with a free AC from Peterman Brothers. When you install a qualifying heating and cooling system with Peterman, the AC is free. It's the final month, so don't miss out on these cool savings. Visit PetermanHVAC.com to schedule.
Hi, I'm Dallas Johnson. My dad started Johnson's Hauling and Excavating in the early 80s.
Generational excellence is very important coming into this business.
Carrying on a family tradition, having pride in what we do. Even though we have expanded into mostly commercial work, we are still heavily invested in our grassroots here and our community in Center Grove. I played for Coach Moore, played JRT, middle school ball, high school. It's home.
In Vistas, Hummer EVs, Sierras, and more. Find the perfect vehicle for whatever you have planned this summer at Racecom and Buick GMC. Feel the warmth of a summer breeze in a new Buick Envista for as little as $249 a month. Enjoy lake life in your new GMC Sierra for as low as $279 a month. Or check out the hot new GMC Hummer EV. Find your ray of sunshine at Racecom and Buick GMC. 2 great locations or racecomandcars.com.
Back inside a very toasty Racecom Stadium. Controlled scrimmage tonight, Center Grove, Brownsburg. Both teams had a chance there to work on 15 plays each on offense, and Brickville team scoring a touchdown. Just your thoughts first for the Center Grove Trojans offensively and defensively.
Yeah, I thought defensively they did a pretty good job, but Brownsburg did a great job of running the ball. They were more effective running the ball than throwing the ball, but it took them the full 15 plays to get all the way down the field. They did punch it in on their 15th play. Center Grove offensively moved the ball pretty well in the first drive, but got stopped on downs. But then the second drive, They were able to punch it in on a touchdown by Ricky Lange, but much better job, it seemed like, on that second possession of mixing the pass and the run. So that's something that's obviously going to be a big thing. I think Coach Moore is probably going to take it a little bit conservative at the start with that sophomore quarterback, even though he's very talented, Sloan. I think with that big offensive line and a good stable of running backs, he's probably going to have to run the ball a little bit more early. But I thought Sloan made some good passes there, Drake McClurg and others, and then Lange put it in the end zone. So both teams pretty evenly balanced so far. This time now, it looks like they're going to start. It looks like they're going to be on the 35, Kevin. And what'd you say, 10 plays for each team?
Yeah, I said something about on the script that I received, they'd be like a 10-yard line, but maybe they're going to go now to the 35. They sometimes mix things up a little bit. Overall, this controlled scrimmage should be over by about 7:30, about a 90-minute scrimmage. So, yeah, they'll now go toward the north end zone. Yep. Bulldogs with the football.
A lot of those starters on both sides in now. Now Fry goes up top, and he's got Sharp. Yep, one play, and that's what you didn't see in that first drive. But Sharp is an extremely talented guy. He's getting recruited with some big-time D1 plays right there, and right there a little inexperience on the defensive backfield by Center Grove, and Fry made him pay. Fry to Sharp, nice catch on about the 3. So touchdown on one play, one touchdown there from the 35. My God, that Brownsburg offense, 10 out of 11 starters back for them, so they're loaded offensively coming back.
They just lost quite a bit defensively from last year's state championship team, but you're right, they are absolutely loaded offensively. Running the football here to the 29.
Yeah, that's the other part of that running back tandem that led them last year. That's Brady Lewis, a junior, 714 yards, 6 touchdowns for him, number 25.
Fry goes underneath, caught. Good tackle made at the 24. 34 for the Trojans, making the tackle. That is Vinny Hayes, senior defensive back.
Yeah, Vinny, and then you got his brother Frankie, number 42. Both of them will be at that linebacker position. Vinny was kind of that nickelback or kind of that Kenny Moore area sometimes last year.
That was Crew Brown tied in on that last reception. He's a sophomore. Back to the ground for the Bulldogs to the 21-yard line. 25 at the bottom of that pile, again, is Brady Lewis, a 5'9" junior running back. Brings up second down. Call it 7 yards to go. Oscar Fry. Pass complete. He's in bounds.
Another good tackle there, though, by Manny Polston to keep him a couple yards shy, and that's been one name that we've called a lot, Kevin. Poston, 5'11", 170-pound senior. He's getting some time out here at cornerback.
8 yards on the reception to Robinson. 3rd and short.
There's some Kobe Cherry action right there.
Purdue commit makes the tackle.
Great to see him back, Kevin, obviously, after missing all of last year. We saw him on the baseball field in the spring, but good to see him back. Obviously, Coach Moore happy to have him back on that defensive line.
4th and a couple for the Bulldogs. Fakes the inside handoff. I believe we do have a new quarterback in there. Once again, that's going to be number 8.
Well,
Canyon Kuntz, and he was down. They're not going to tackle the quarterback.
Well,
so
unfortunately, they don't have the different jersey colors like
the backups.
Well,
you're right.
Fry didn't have it either.
No, he doesn't. Good observation.
I mean, that's a recipe for possible danger.
I think 2 years ago when we did the controlled scrimmage, Brownsburg here at CG, they wore, I want to say, red jerseys, the same colors as Center Grove. The quarterbacks did. It seemed like, I think they were red, but tonight you're right.
I mean, because that
was different color jerseys for the QBs.
That was 11 True Paxton, and we've seen the hits that he delivers on people in the JV game. He very easily could have destroyed that backup quarterback.
Yeah, it's Kuntz, the backup quarterback. So they'll reset back to the 35-yard line. Kuntz stays in at quarterback.
And now you see some backups on that Center Grove side as well, especially on that defensive, kind of across the board there. Two more plays for them in this batch of 10.
Football at the 32. Kuntz, left-handed quarterback, throws a strike for a first down to the 18-yard line.
That's a good ball there by Kuntz.
Xavier Mays, 6-foot junior wide receiver with the reception, 17 yards, smooth the chains. Kuntz handles the shotgun snap. Good job by the Trojans, really flying to the football. Running back was dropped for a 2-yard loss at the 20.
Yeah, it looked like it was 92. Keaton Van Getz, 6'3", 205-pound junior. So Center Grove keeps him out of the end zone in that set of plays, Kevin.
Also Carson Sloan, freshman defensive lineman, 6'3", 190 pounds, also in on the stop with Van Getz.
He's also going to be one that's going to be fun to watch, Kevin. We saw him in the middle school rivalry game last year as an 8th grader in football, and then we saw him in basketball, and oh man, what a talented kid. Obviously got to put some muscle on him and some weight on him. He's probably eating 5 or 6 meals a day, but he is very, very talented. 6'3", 190 pounds, so he's going to get some opportunities as well. So a lot of talented kids in this freshman and sophomore class for Center Grove.
Sean also says Carson Sloan's a really good baseball player as well. So now the Trojans will have 10 plays from the 35. This time Sloan goes under center. I think that's the first time we've seen him under center tonight.
Yeah, and that's Reese, and that was big gain on first down behind that big offensive line.
Well done by Reese. I still remember going back to last year, first game of the season, Westfield. I think he had maybe 15 carries, had a heck of a ball game. That was his best game of the year. And I just remember Coach Moore telling us the next day that Nolan had a great game, but we can't run him 15 times a game. He's just not that kind of back. But here he is a year older, year stronger, so we'll see what kind of a season he has. But he was really good last year for the Trojans.
And he's going to be the type that's going to be that inside probably. While he's not that big, he's kind of a straight-ahead guy, whereas you might have others like Lange be one that can get outside a little bit more.
Football just inside the 30, marked at the 28. He had about 3 yards for the first down. Well played by the defensive back, knocking that one away from Drake McClurg. 38 with the play. That appears to be Colton Gibson. He's a sophomore. Brings up 3rd and short for CG.
Yeah, that was a do or die play right there. If he's not able to knock that down, McClurg gets that. He could scoot into the end zone, but a nice play by their defensive back there.
Sloan once again goes under center. Sophomore quarterback with the handoff. The Trojans with the first down and then some, still fighting. Whistled down at the 19. Heck of a run.
That's 25. That's another very talented sophomore, Kevin, that we saw a lot last year. Jaden Biggerstaff, he split his time between the freshman and the JV team, but he's gotten a lot bigger. 5'11", 180 last year. I think he was about 160, 165, so good gain there by Biggerstaff and a first down.
9 yards for the sophomore. At the 19, Sloan. Rolls right, doesn't have much time. He's knocked to the turf. Some oohs and ahs from the fans. Again, you're not supposed to put the quarterback on the turf, but again, it is tackle football.
Well, they ran the little bootleg, and that didn't fool Brownsburg, and just it's a slow developing play, but the reason why it's slow is you're hoping the defense flows left away from the quarterback, and right there they just filled that hole and got to Sloan pretty easily.
2nd down and 10 here for the Trojans. At the 19, Sloan drops back in shotgun formation. 3 wide receiver sets.
And here comes Brownsburg's bringing the house too.
Handoff, inside handoff, and wrapped up in the backfield at the 25. Didn't fool the Bulldogs at all. 35, that's Owen Oliver, senior running back with the carry. Loses 6 yards.
Yeah, they were bringing the house right there, and you thought maybe
Alex Fisher dropped him in the backfield.
Trying to get outside, but was able to track him down for a loss of 5.
Looks like third and call it 16 here for the Trojans.
Here they come again.
Oscar, not much time, but he gets rid of it. Ricky Lange gets hit from behind, holds on to the football. Ricky Lange has been very, very good tonight to the 16-yard line. And Rick, I don't think we're surprised. We saw a lot of great play out of Ricky Lange last year.
Now, like we said last year, he just needs to put on some weight, and it looks like he did that a little bit. So good that he took a couple of those hits as well here in varsity action to just get used to that, because he was hardly ever touched when he was on the freshman team.
4th and 6 for the Trojans. Hand off to 32, up the middle, and he will score.
That's Winkler. Great play call there.
Spread him out, ran it right out the middle with Hudson Winkler, 15 yards on the touchdown. Now join us in the booth. We have Center Grove Gridiron President Aaron Holtz. Aaron, getting out of the heat up here in the air-conditioned press box.
That's soft right there.
Take advantage of this. Now I know what you guys been living like the last 20-some years. Jeez.
Not a drop of sweat on us up here.
This feels really, really good.
I texted Aaron.
I could get used to this.
I said, hey, come on up when you can. He was here within 30 seconds. I didn't even mention that we have hot box pizza.
Truth is, I was already in the box. Not the pizza either.
Aaron just brought up a good point there on that touchdown run. Another great block down the field by Eli Williams.
Sloan with a nice pass attempt, but McClure got tripped up. He took a tumble. I don't know if he got tripped up by a defensive player or a turf monster got him, but
I think he might have got some assistance.
So maybe a push. But he would have been open. It looked like a fine play that was being run, but again, he just lost his footing, so to bring up 2nd down. So again, so far, Brownsburg a couple of touchdowns, Center Grove a couple of touchdowns. They really don't keep score. Again, this is a controlled scrimmage, just an opportunity to play another team, get on film, and start working and assessing your players. And there's a completed pass to McClure at the 31-yard line, 4 yards.
They're going to come back because of a hold.
Aaron, just your assessment so far of the Center Grove Trojans.
Not bad. They're rotating a ton of players, so when you do that, it's hard to get into a groove. But kind of what I expected. I know the DBs have struggled a little bit on deep balls, and that showed tonight so far. But I think we're running to the ball. We've made some good tackles. Brownsburg obviously is rotating a lot of people too. I think that was the plan between both coaches, that they were going to do this a little bit more active than what we've seen in the past. But I think, overall, I like a lot of what I've seen. I was talking to Rick earlier. He's like, what do you think? And I said, watch out for Ricky Lange. And he kind of made himself known really fast. This is a great scrimmage. You got, obviously, top-tier program, defending state champion. Brownsburg does it right. And so this is a really good one to kind of gauge how we are, where we are at this point. They got big offense and defensive linemen. So this is a pretty good challenge for us. Nobody's showing anything, of course, but overall, I things they got to fix. Obviously, too many drop balls, stuff like that. But that's nerves. This team has the capability of being exceptionally good, but you also got a lot of guys that haven't played a lot of varsity football, and so again, that's why these scrimmages really make sense. And I would much rather do. You remember the years ago, we would go against teams, and it's just like, why are we even doing this?
Yeah, some of those were tough. You didn't learn much about yourself.
Right, but Aaron, you and I were talking about that earlier this week. A lot of people talk to you and say, why would you play Brownsburg? This is a team that we played last year in the semi-state, could play them again this year, but again, it's hard to find someone to play.
Yeah, I would rather do this and see some very specific things that we need to work on. They brought pressure tonight. That makes me incredibly happy because it allows us to see what we're doing. If you play a team of much less, opponent, that doesn't help you because odds are the mistakes are going to get covered up. And so I actually am very excited we're playing at Brown. I hope we continue. I don't know if that, what the agreement is, but I think they're equally as happy, quite frankly. Both programs, respect each other enough that they're not going to do anything stupid and hurt another opposing player, certainly on purpose by any chance. And they're both coached so well that this just makes sense for us.
Well, I mean, and even, Kevin, you talked about people asking you why you playing them, you might play them. It's a long time until that November time when you might face them in the semi-state. And a ton of things happen, a ton of things change, and like Aaron said, you're not bringing out the full playbook on offense or defense, showing them anything like that. But it's a much better, you play an inferior opponent, it's almost better that you just practice against yourself versus doing something like that. So this is a huge benefit, I think, for both teams.
And think about this. You've had Center Grove, Ben Davis, Brownsburg, all from the South, win the last 3 state championships. Westfield's been there multiple times in the state championship, and just unfortunately for them, been runner-up. But I'm pretty confident Ben Davis is scrimmaging Westfield tonight. So, these top-tier programs that again, should all be fighting for the opportunity to go to Lucas Oil, they're playing each other tonight. I think that just makes them better.
Aaron, how about later tonight? You got Center Grove football right now.
Yeah.
At 10 o'clock NFL Network, you can watch Carson Steele with the Chiefs playing Seattle tonight.
Well, football's here finally. We got all kinds of things to do and watch, and
it's great to be able to watch now the Colts, the Chiefs, the Texans, the Bears.
How about Austin Booker?
Oh my!
He's like the talk of the NFL right now. 6 tackles, 3 sacks, 4 QB, sack, fumble. It's just, but we've been very fortunate the last many years of seeing somebody play on a Saturday, right? Now we get Friday, Saturday, and Sunday,
and maybe Monday Night Football,
and or
Thursday Night Football.
There's a group of us going down to Jacksonville. I got my son's down in Jacksonville working for the Jags, and so gives us an excuse to go see him. But Kansas City Chiefs play at Jacksonville on Monday Night Football. So
tell us about Ty. I was going to bring that up. Tell us about Ty Holt.
He
working with the Jags.
Yeah, he graduated from here and went on to Ball State. His older brother Trevor and his younger brother Eli played for Ball State. When he went there, he's sandwiched in between them and decided to be a manager. And his junior and senior year in college, he went and did an internship with the Jags and really enjoyed it. They asked him back to do a full season this year. So he's graduated Ball State. We moved him down earlier this summer to Florida, and he's working a lot of hours, but he's enjoying it. In fact, tomorrow morning he gets on the double-decker and flies to New Orleans to be with the team and work the game that day, and gets to experience a lot of neat professional venues like going to New Orleans and seeing the Saints.
That's awesome. Hey, there's worse places to be in the winter as well as Jacksonville.
That's exactly right. So he's doing great. It's kind of neat to see. You got Trevor Lawrence down there. You got the recent Heisman Trophy winner. Says he's just an excellent human being. It's neat to have him see contacts. Another neat story on that is the linebacker. He was Mr. Football from northern part of the state of Indiana. His name's escaping me right now, but he played at Notre Dame, and he's now at Jacksonville. So they hooked up the other day, and we're talking about Indiana high school football and how great it was. And of course, he knew Center Grove very, very well. And
is it Bowen?
Drake Bowen.
Yep.
He was a linebacker.
For Andrean. For Andrean.
Yeah. But he, great kid. They were sharing a lot of stories, and that's the thing about Indiana high school football. For so many years, it just didn't get a lot of attention, and I'd say for the last decade plus, it's just constant successful kids from all programs going to big time colleges and doing, excelling there. And now you look around, there's quite a few that are in the NFL. Tracy from Decatur Central played on this field he's doing really well at the New York Giants. He was a rookie last year.
I mean, you've arrived whenever one of your Indiana high school kids is holding out for more money. Like McLaurin from Cathedral for
another
Redskins.
another Mr. Football. I mean, speaking of that, I was thinking about that the other day. There's been so many great matchups over the years between Center Grove and Cathedral. And, you had McLaurin, you had Carson. I mean, those guys were all on the field at the same time.
Yeah,
those were not only fun games to watch, but the talent was unbelievable.
I think he might have been a part, or both of them might have been a part of that. What was it, 45-44, or one of those slugfests here at the end of the season?
Rush East, one of my favorite all-time games that he played in. It's just a lot of fun to see on Sundays different kids from the state of Indiana playing a lot of NFL football.
And Aaron, we talked about this too. A lot of Center Grove players playing on Saturdays. Of course, we know Caden Curry. You got McConnell down at IU with Cherry. Of course, Taven, Central Florida. But 40-some Center Grove players playing
We got
college?
Brent Lay, who's been a past president of Center Grove B&M. He's helping us out tremendously at Gridiron now, doing an incredible job. But we always post the headshots when they get listed and wish everybody well before the season starts. He said he's willing to do it. I was so happy to give that up. But I sent him all the headshots the other day that we have. There's still some programs that haven't uploaded them yet. And we're over 40 kids currently playing college football from Center Grove High School, which is astounding. But then you think about all the kids that just recently graduated that were playing last year, and we still have over 40 kids. And it's hometown teams like Franklin, Wabash, and DePaul to your Big Ten, to your MAC schools. I mean, it's just awesome to see. And you mentioned Curry. Curry should have a really big year this year. He's starting. He's a senior. He's waited his turn because two of those guys that were in front of him, both of them came back because of the COVID year, so that kind of hurt him a little bit from that perspective. But I saw him not too long ago. I mean, he is in the best shape I've ever seen him, just big as a house, very hungry. And it's going to be neat to see him play against Texas, #1 team, first weekend.
Right off the bat, #1 team, and they're underdogs.
Also, Aaron, your youngest son, Eli, playing for Ball State.
Yep, he's fighting a good fight. They're excited. New coaching staff there at Muncie. Really like what I'm seeing and hearing, and from all the players, not just Eli. He's excited. I think he's going to get a chance to get on the field a decent amount this year, and he'll be a redshirt sophomore. But they're pretty excited. It's kind of pick your poison, but they go up to Rick's favorite place in West Lafayette on August 30th. Rick and I will be throwing back a couple pops, I'm sure, before the game.
I don't know if I've told you that, Kevin, but I'm out that Saturday morning. Unless you want a live look-in and tailgating at Purdue between Aaron and I.
But the reward for Ball State for beating Purdue is they get Auburn the next week. So this will be the most Center Grove football games I'm going to miss since probably 2005. And it's just because we got the way schedule for Ball State works this year, we're going to have to leave a lot of Fridays. But Eli's excited. Feels like the team's ready to compete. And, Ball State's due for a good season. They went back-to-back bowls a couple of years ago and had a little rough stretch, but I think they can make some noise in the MAC. And, of course, you got James Schott that left Michigan State. He's at Miami, Ohio. You got Kalen Carroll, is a name that a lot of people forget about. He came in when we were at 2021 state champion. He recently transferred from Cincinnati to Central Michigan. So I saw him on a video the other day. Got a pick six. Looks like he's starting. Jalen Thomason believes he's going to have the starting role at Ohio. So we got a lot of guys in the MAC, and that's fun. Going and watching Eli. It's always neat to see Center Grove players. Last year, day after Thanksgiving, Jalen came running over. We had pictures with the family. It was just like a great reunion. He missed us. And, one thing that's always awesome about Center Grove and other elite programs is it is a big family and continues to be a big family once you leave here.
Kuntz keeps it, scores the touchdown for Brownsburg, backup quarterback.
I mean, if you can't hit the quarterback, should you really have your quarterback running?
Two-hand touch, right?
I mean, there was two guys that could have hit him at the 5.
Yeah, that's one of, if you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? If you hit him, you're like, what are you doing?
So, Aaron, let's talk about Center Grove's schedule this year. Warren Central, week 1 next week on the road. Great to see the Warriors back on the schedule during the regular season.
Really awesome. It's the way it should be. I think it's one of the best opening night games you could actually have. Two tradition-based schools with an incredible football program, and so excited to have them back on the schedule. This year will look a little bit more like what we're used to, and next year will really, really look like what we're used to. And so, it's going to be neat to travel over to the east side. Always love doing that. Something about playing at Warren just gets you excited.
Week 2, going to Fort Wayne to take on Carroll, a team we played here last year for just a half. That was the night we had that microburst, and the bleachers took out the field goal post, the south end zone field goal post.
Of all my years playing and watching football, it might have been the wildest night I've ever experienced. That was crazy. But yeah, Fort Wayne Carroll, they've proven to be a quality program, always in the mix up in the north end of the state. Long trip, longest trip outside of going to Cleveland that we'll ever have taken. But they will be a quality opponent. We're going to have to, with this team, understand how to travel and be ready to play once you get off a 2-hour bus drive. Of course, then we followed up, coming back here for our first home game.
Yeah, home opener, Marion.
Yeah.
Senior night also.
And
then Ben Davis in week 4.
Ben Davis and that typical week 4 portion of our season. That's always a fun game. Get them back here. It's been a while since they played here. That'll be fun. And then it kind of starts changing after Trotwood to kind of get back to what we used to.
Yeah, going to Lawrence Central, then back home for Cathedral this year. You got Cathedral and Lawrence North at home this year, week 7 and 8, and then week 9, an old foe from the times Center Grove was in 5A. Bloomington South will go to Bloomington South to take on the Panthers.
People have probably forgotten this, but it's been 2 years. This will be 2 straight years that we played away against Cathedral because of the scheduling conflicts and stuff that we dealt with. So having them come back to our home stands is going to be really appreciated and nice. Bloomington South's awesome to have back on the schedule. And so it's a very quality schedule. It's a hard schedule. Ben Davis is, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, in the South right now, I think you got 3 teams in the top tier, and that's us, Brownsburg, and Lawrence North, and then just a tad underneath, but right there is going to be Ben Davis and Warren Central. So, the fact that they're loaded like that, it's really, really powerful. Cathedral I put in there, but they dropped down to 5A this year. So really, really good opponents. Bloomington South, wanted to play us because they want to get ready for the tournament, and it's just great to have them back on the schedule. I think we got them for a couple years. I'm not real sure. The only team that's not on the schedule this year that I wish was, and I think we're going to get them back here soon, is Trinity. I love that game. It was a lot of fun. The Indiana-Kentucky deal, and always was a blast. The 2 times that we went down there and played, a lot of fun, and then they were great games when they've come up here as well.
What about is Carmel coming back on the schedule? Heard kind of rumors of that.
Carmel is officially in, not this season, but the following season, which is, again, as far as I'm concerned, a game that should always be played. 2 top-tier programs. They got a new coach, too, in Kevin Wright. Believe me, they're going to make noise this year, and next year they're going to be another team that's back to compete for a state title because he's that good of a coach. And he's got things rolling up there. They got a lot of excitement. We haven't been up there for a while, but wait till you guys get up there and see the facility. It's on par with some of those stadiums down in the South. It's really something. They've done a great job up there. So, after this year, having Warren, Ben Davis, Carmel, Lawrence North, all those guys back. That's in Cathedral, of course. What's great about Center Grove and what Coach Moore's built is, Warren Central Warren Central Center Grove is a great game. Us playing Ben Davis is an incredible game. Us playing Cathedral is a top game. Us playing Carmel's a top game. Now Lawrence North, Pat Mallory's got them rolling. those programs every week, it's like, man, this is the top game in the state. It's awesome.
Just letting too much. That's Cade Timmons, the intended receiver. Also, something we saw a couple of years ago, Aaron, with the MIC Conference, they started doing these double headers, the freshman JV games on Saturday. Well, this year, Center Grove will have 5 home games on Saturday, all double headers, and then all their road games will also be double headers, but we'll have 5 double headers on Saturday this year. We've been streaming Saturday JV and freshman football now. This will be our 4th season doing that, and I'm be honest, I kind of like this doubleheader. It's 5 Saturdays, and you get to see a freshman and JV game back to back.
For years, I've wondered why they didn't do that, and now that they great catch there. I don't know if he was in bounds, but it was a great catch. That's our new receiver, Eli Williams, and he went up and got it.
Tell us a little about Eli.
Eli came over from Parameridian recently. Really, really good athlete, incredible size, great weight. Really can catch the ball, but he's a speedster, good track runner, hurdler. That's big in Coach Moore's eyes, as you know. But he's really, from what I hear, is situated himself in well, and really happy to have him. He gives us a deep threat, and he's a tall receiver to throw to.
And what I've seen already twice, his blocking out at that wide receiver position. He's such a big body. Cade Timmons is a fantastic blocker as well at wide receiver, but I mean, Williams has showed up twice on a couple of the touchdowns, just driving his guy into the end zone.
I pointed one of them out to you. It was impressive, and if you think about our offense the last few years, we do a lot of those quick passes to, in this particular case, Drake. Used to be Noah Coy. I wouldn't be surprised to see Ricky Lange getting a few of those too, but the perimeter blocking is a key, and I'm not sure there's anybody better than Cade, but Eli's right up there. So that helps us tremendously.
Aaron, probably the number one question I get asked about Center Grove football, a lot of people wanting to know, as we see Lange breaking tackles, he scores from 18 yards out, but a lot of people want to know, how's Coach Moore doing? We know Coach has been battling some health issues the last few years, and I know you're really close to Coach Moore, and just how's he doing so far this season?
Well, if you asked him right now, he'd tell you he's ready to just go 6 feet under. He feels terrible. He had a treatment this week, and they're supposed to get him something to offset it, and that didn't come in, and so he actually went home from school today, sick as all to get out. I'm surprised he's even out there. I told him to come up here and coach from the press box, but that didn't go over very well. But he's doing well. He had some tests 3-4 weeks ago that were, for the first time in a long while, very positive, and I think that helped his mental capacity. He's excited about this year. The assistant coaches have picked up and helped out a lot. We just got to get him healthy. I mean, that's just the bottom line. The treatments, a lot of people don't realize he'll get treatments, 2-3 times a week, many times that are taking place on Friday. And so, when you know that and you're trying to game plan and get ready for game day, it's just a little bit different game day for him. And then he's got to go and travel and do that stuff. So he's one of the tougher guys I know. He grinds and gets through it. And but today I can tell you he's not feeling very well. I got a text from him. He's like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. Of course, I knew what he was going to do. I just tried to talk him into getting into the press box, and that wasn't a choice.
He's got a great coaching staff with him. They've been with him a long time.
Yeah, and that's been a big key to our success over the years. One thing the coach has always done that I've noticed since I've been around, and it's been a while, is he lets his coaches coach. They know what they're responsible for. They're very good at it. They take it seriously, whether they're here all day on Sunday, or I'll get texts from Coach Harbin, throughout the week, and he's just sitting there in his family room, and he's got it nailed down, and that gives Coach a great deal of comfort, knowing that these guys not only know what's expected of them, but he doesn't get in their way either, and I think that's a huge deal, and then to have them around as long as they have been is a major plus.
Trying to run the football, swallowed up from behind. 35 with the run. That's Owen Oliver. And Aaron, the numbers are way up. Freshman football, someone told me maybe 72 freshmen this year.
Yeah, when we were fitting equipment, I was blown away to the point that we ordered more equipment, which is a good thing and a bad thing from a financial perspective. That stinks. But, yeah, it's great. I think there's a lot of excitement. We got some really good classes right now. We got some great classes in middle school. Football's alive and well at Center Grove, and now it's just about getting them to understand what's expected of them when they get up here in the high school stage, and the commitment and the other things that have to take place for us to continue to be, one of those top teams in the state. And sometimes things get missed a little bit, and we've been doing it well for so long. We're more the hunted than we are the huntees. So you got to get your mindset right, but I couldn't be more excited for this freshman class. There's a lot of freshmen that are playing, somewhere throughout tonight. We obviously saw already some sophomores doing some good things. The kid that I think you'll hear from the freshman team this year before it's all said and done is Sloan, number 96. I believe his number's 96.
Yep. Carson Sloan.
Carson's got a lot of speed. He obviously needs to develop and get bigger, but as a freshman, he looks fantastic, and he's going to make some noise, I promise you, this year as they move forward throughout the season. Another kid that's a freshman, it's a big lineman, Tid. He walked in when he was getting his equipment. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was an upperclassman that forgot when they were supposed to get the equipment. He's huge, and once he learns to move his feet and understand that things are a little bit different on the high school level, he's going to be really, really good. We got a couple freshman linemen that are going to be playing JV football this year, potentially varsity if something would happen negative to our starters. So we're set pretty good, and we just got to keep grinding.
We see the specialists out here working as they take a break, and
that's a 50-yarder.
Well, Dallas, I said on social media, I saw him take a 55-yard field goal in practice.
Well, so he was our kicker last year, and a lot of people goes, man, he just doesn't have a leg.
Look how much he's a lot bigger and stronger this year.
Look at that.
People forget that he was just a young kicker, and he just hadn't developed. Worked his absolute tail off in this off season.
He just hit a 50-yard field goal.
Yeah, he's hit
with about 5 yards to spare.
By the way, he's hit 60 this year.
I saw 55 in practice.
Yeah,
so he's up to 60 yards.
Yeah, and he's
on a field goal.
Getting very well. A lot of notice. We went up to Purdue as a team for the team camp, and then he went up and stayed after for specialty camp, and really our first time we've been to Purdue, maybe ever. I certainly since I've been around, and Purdue has a new coaching staff, and that coach is pretty legit. He was fun to talk to, easy to talk to, but Cornpros was a kid he was really high on. He was high on True Paxson. Obviously, they got Kobe shortly after that. They wanted some of the linemen, but they'd already committed. So we had a good showing up there at Purdue. But Cornprost is one kid that, without question, took it serious on the off season, and his improvement is dramatic. So we're really excited about him, and quite frankly, when you kick a 55-yarder plus, that changes the whole concept of the game.
Well, last year he was 10 for 10 on field goals, but his long was only 37, and you had a lot of situations where, like you said, Kevin, it was. I think he was listed last year at either 135 or 140. You look at him now, and he's listed at 160, and you can see the ball just coming off his foot different. And I knew we weren't going to get through a broadcast, Aaron, without Kevin pointing out specialists.
That's right.
He's got to do that all the time. He's waiting for some punters to come out here now.
Well,
that's my next question.
Guilfoy's sitting next to Conrad,
exactly.
and he's ready to go down and teach Cornprost how to punt.
We got a punter in the booth here as well. Who's going to punt this year for CG? Do we know?
I don't know. I think there's Cornprost is certainly an option, and probably will be him. I also know that Drake's done some punting. Don't know how well. Of course, that could be a setup to Drake back there running the ball around and this and that. That could be something else too. But I would say it's one of those two probably.
Once again, we're on a break. Center Grove tonight again. They really don't keep score, but looks like Brownsburg has put the ball in the end zone 3 times, Center Grove a couple of times. So
they don't keep score, but Kevin's up here keeping score.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then you'll hear all the critics going, oh, my God, Brownsburg scored this, Center Grove scored that. But,
if you're going to compete, don't you got to keep score?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, come on.
But going back to, you guys doing the Saturday games, that was one of the best things I think we did as a broadcast, and being able to get that support, being able to do it for free, really helps a lot of families that are running all over the place, whether they have multiple kids or maybe not living around here anymore, that have grandparents or other relatives. It's a huge deal, and now that you get double headers, I mean, the only bad thing in the past has been we only got 1 game, and now you get 2. Really an awesome thing that you guys are willing to step up and do that, and it's great for the visiting teams as well. I'm not sure we're not the only program that does that too, by the way.
That's obviously, I think Jake Stiles was one of the first ones that helped sponsor us for that, and Caldwell Banker Stiles this year, a couple other sponsors as well. Mike Duke has always helped, and Duke Holmes has always helped with that, and then Bailey and Wood Mortgage lenders are helping with those freshman and JV Saturday morning games as well. So that's awesome to see. And now the next batch of the scrimmage here looks like mostly backup guys, maybe JV guys as well on both sides.
When you talk about our sponsors, we had a great year. A lot of that's due to Brent going out and pounding the pavement, but we got more sponsors, and we are able to keep some of our bigger ones too. And, IU Health has been an incredible supporter for us for the last handful of years. Got some exciting things to announce on that coming. Where we can help families, they can help families, and get people in quickly to get them the assistance they need, regardless of sport, regardless if you're an athlete, maybe you're a parent. I know they helped out some parents last year, so we're excited about that. Of course, you always got Skillman, who just does everything everywhere. Fantastic. Reese Restoration, Kopetsky Car Wash. I mean, you can go on and on. There's some big ones. Got Sycamore Construction. It's going to be our pregame interview sponsor this year, and that's a former player, Justin Wood. It was one of our better linemen over the years that played back in 15 years ago now. Just awesome, and so we're excited to have him come on board. Coach has been around long enough, and you guys have been around here long enough. We're getting ex-players that are out making money and being incredibly successful and giving back, and that's something that's always neat to see. Getting creative this year with a lot of different things to help us keep our funding going. Part of that's going to be ex-players as well. So we're excited where things stand, and just can't wait till next Friday. Also, big thank you to Mike Duke of Duke Holmes, everything that he does for Center Grove football. He's also going to be a part of our, of course, Friday night post-game sponsor, but also he's going to be our Saturday co-sponsor as well for Saturday football. So Mike does so much. He handles all the misty fans, if you will, when it's hot, or it's the warmers and the heaters on the sideline when it's state tournament time, and of course he handles all the film crew here at home and on the road. He is he's a gem. He's been around here since the get-go with when Coach arrived. Of course, he went to school here, but he's always put us out there and helped us, and his assistance has just been off the charts. A lot of people don't realize what all he does. You mentioned it, but you see those trailers and stuff following those school buses every week, and he's been doing it for 27 years, 28 years actually now, and it's just been awesome, and just a great person. Something we talked about, Aaron, with these really extreme temperatures. I know Coach Moore and his staff, they've had to modify practices. When it gets to a certain temperature, especially on this turf, you can't come out here in full pads. Sometimes you got to go just with the pro pads, and you just got to make the best of the situation. Again, it's all about keeping these guys hydrated and keeping them safe. Very true, and it's never should be something that's overlooked. The only issue I have is I just wish they'd standardize it across the state, and schools use the same rules. That bothers me a little bit. Of course, it gets coach upset. He coached for years in Florida. It's like, what do you think we did? But it's been hot, and you got to trust your coaches to be smart, which we've been around for a long time. And I just wish it was standardized so everybody understood and knew that we work off the same grid, if you will. But it's been hot, and the things that worry me is you got to be safe, get them water, and do all the right things. But when you come out on a Friday night, it's going to be hotter. You know what? It's going to be blazing next Friday, and if you're not out in it, then when you go out the first time, you're going to see guys falling like flies, and so safety is obviously very important, but you got to be smart and make sure they're ready on a Friday night too.
So this is our 18th year of streaming Friday night football for Center Grove, and Ted Kitchell, he'll be joining us in week 3 for the home opener. Ted will be coming back for his 17th season, and I think, Rick, you've been helping me now, or helping us for at least 17 years as well, and it's become quite a tradition on Friday nights. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to stream next Friday's game at Warren Central. Greg Straw at ISC Sports Network will have next Friday's game, but we should be able to stream, we believe, the rest of the games this year, including that Carroll game in week 2. We'll plan to go to Trotwood and also go to Lawrence Central and finish up in week 9 at Bloomington South. And, of course, we have all the home games this year. Just the 4 home games this year. One year you get 4, next year you get 5, so it just kind of changes from year to year. But the 4 home games this year, the 3 of them are going to be outstanding. Ben Davis, Cathedral, Lawrence North.
Yeah, that's one of the better home schedules we've had in quite some time. And, of course, they're local talent, so that'll be a blast to have them come to our place. Should be great crowds and a lot of excitement. I mean, this is a program that went 4 straight years, won 3 of those 4. Had multiple quarterbacks, between Taven and Cherry, and then I thought McWilliams did a great job last year, and now we got Oscar taking the helm. You go back and look at our success. The last 2 years we didn't win it, but we basically lost in the very last minutes of the game in the semi-state. So this is a team that if they can will themselves and do the right things and make the right decisions, it's a team there's no question should not be in discussion of being there at the end.
Fumble on the exchange between quarterback. It's Evan Wishmeyer. He's a up-and-coming freshman quarterback for CG. That's one thing that might be of concern. You got Sloan, sophomore, and then you go to a freshman quarterback. Obviously, you want Sloan to stay healthy, but if it becomes to an emergency quarterback situation, especially early in the season, Aaron, you might go to a more veteran player. But, again, Wishmeyer is one of those young quarterbacks for CG. He's a freshman.
Yeah, he got to see him for his first time in high school, if you will, up at the Purdue camp, and he impressed me. And maybe not as much from the throwing perspective, but just, that's a big ask to go up in your first time. You're scrimmaging against Ben Davis and Warren Central. You're at Purdue, Big Ten program with a lot of nostalgia, and just liked how he controlled the huddle. Seemed to have his feet underneath him, and he had a good day. He threw a couple touchdowns and did real well. Obviously, he has to get experience. He'll play JV this year. Got some other quarterbacks on the freshman team that are going to be just fine, and so we just continue to build what we need to build. Right there was, we didn't complete it, but that was a freshman to freshman right there. Cade Krause, who has a tremendous upside, fast kid, great track runner, but very tall freshman, and he can get downfield. So again, the future's bright. We just got to keep with it, and excited to see what these guys do this year as far as the lower levels are concerned. The JVs had some great seasons these past many years, as have the freshmen.
Also this past week, Center Grove Middle School North got a couple of wins. I think Central just opened up as well, 7th and 8th grade football. Didn't hear how they did. I think they both
won big. All four teams, great. 7th and 8th grade on both middle schools won big. The scores such that kind of reminded you of the old days. I mean, they were big scores. A lot of talent in those classes. So excited to see them, continue to improve throughout this year and get them up here as well.
Also, Coach Andy Moore coaching Junior Trojans again this year, and Boy, what an exciting game they had against the Brownsburg Junior Bulldogs. Won at Brownsburg in the last seconds of the ball game. They scored and got the 1-point conversion to beat Brownsburg in the opener. They got Westfield this Saturday. Tomorrow night at 7 o'clock at home in the home opener. But Coach Andy Moore and the JRT program off to a good start.
Yep, and Brownsburg have gotten us the last couple of years, so it's good to get them back. And sounds like they have a good quality program or team at the JRT level. The IEFA is loaded, just great competition, always has been. I'm glad that that's continuing, and saw some of the highlights from that game. The excitement from the kids was just awesome.
Wishmeyer completes the pass. 85 with the reception. Caden Smith, sophomore tight end. So we're old enough to remember the days of the jamborees. Remember the jamborees back in the day?
Yeah.
Boy, we haven't seen the jamborees in some time, but now they go with these controlled scrimmages. And I don't know. The jamborees were a lot of fun, though.
You're dating yourself, Mr. Conrad.
I went to Perry Meridian. It was Perry, Southport, Franklin Central, Conrad's little place that he loves. And then
hey, the
and then
flashes
Center
back
Grove.
in the day
and then
were
Center
pretty
Grove.
good.
Think about that.
I played him once.
Yeah, Center Grove, Franklin Central, Southport, Perry.
There you go.
And we wouldn't play Southport because it was our arch rival, etc. But I played in many of those. I remember the very first jamboree we played in. Kind of shows you how far football's come and what Center Grove's been able to do. Perry and Southport went up to the north side against North Central and Carmel and loaded. I mean, just loaded. Southport and Perry sat together on the visiting stands, and holy cow, I'm like, man, can we ever get a program down here on the south side to battle those guys? And all these years later, you got Center Grove, who's darn near has a winning record against all of them now up on the north side. So it's pretty special.
I say, you look at the series between Center Grove and a lot of these programs. Center Grove with Coach Moore, they actually lead the series against Ben Davis, and they're closing the gap against Warren Central.
Very close to getting over the top on Warren Central. We're tied with Carmel. We're over the top on Ben Davis, which is something I think many people never dreamed that we'd be close on all three of them. Everybody else, mixed schedule-wise or anybody else around, we're right there if we played them multiple times. Pretty neat to see. And, you think about Brownsburg was really good in the 80s. Last year they reminded me a lot of us in 2015. They always have great talent, great kids, and it just seemed like they just couldn't get over the hump. And we went, how many years before 2015 that we just couldn't get over the hump. And unfortunately, they got over the hump on us, but at the end of the day, this is a program led by Coach Hart. He gets it. He's been around. He's been successful everywhere he's been, whether it's been in the state of Indiana or Illinois. Runs a really good quality program, and one of the similarities between these two programs we were just talking about is they believe in the foundation, which is your youth program, and that's a huge deal. I mean, you got to get your youth program, especially now in the transfer portal area. You got to make them feel like you want to play for Brownsburg, you want to play for Center Grove, and it's a big deal. And because those guys on both sides here tonight have such a strong foundation, I think these two programs are going to be around for quite some time.
Trying to figure out the football out there, and Brownsburg's missing a football or trying to make sure they have the right football.
Well, Hines is the ball boy tonight, so he probably stole it.
There you go.
So IHSA athletics really changing a lot this year with the transfer portal now in place, if you will, and obviously Center Grove's got a few players new in the football program, but how does this change the complexion of high school sports?
I'm scared to say. I'm not a big fan of it. I think a lot of people don't know how it really works yet. I think after this season you're going to see more movement than they ever anticipated, unfortunately. The crazy thing in this, too, is you can transfer in the middle of the season. Someone could play for one of these two teams tonight and leave tomorrow. And it's, for all intents and purposes, it's going to happen. I mean, not that it's going to happen, but, it's going to be accepted. So, we kind of saw it with the transfer portal in college. I think the SEC lost a lot of depth. And, I don't know if you're going to get kids that feel they can play somewhere else, be willing to wait, 2-3 years. You think about a Gabe McWilliams last year. He got his first chance, not because he wasn't a good quarterback, but he had Taven Jackson and Tyler Cherry in front of him who are playing Division I football. And, I always commended him on his loyalty and sticking around. But he had a pretty doggone good season, threw for over 3,000 yards. How many more families are going to be willing to wait to play 1 year when, you got the college environment going on? It's gotten so big, and having the opportunity to maybe move on if you have that capabilities. It's a little scary, not just in football, but in every sport. And so I think, there's probably going to be a way. We got to figure it out and do it the right way. But like Coach and I were talking not too long ago, and he's like, he always looked at the youth program as recruiting his own guys. And, middle school, a little bit difficult to do because of the seasons and when they play. But I think he's always done a good job at that. But he's like, now more than ever, you can't just think about who might come to your school. You got to think about who's already at your school and make sure that you keep them from going somewhere else. And the other thing I'd say is, because of where a lot of times the geographical setting of Center Grove hurts us. People don't want to drive from the north side to come down the south side. Hopefully 69 changes a lot of that. But in the transfer rule, maybe we are in a pretty good situation. It's going to be harder for people to maybe leave, and then, I'm not sure convinced yet that you're going to have a bunch of kids from north side or east side or west side coming down. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
What you're saying is basically it's a lot more likely when you're talking about a group of 10 high schools within a 20-mile radius.
Well, yeah, I mean,
at that level between HSE, Fisher.
Yeah, just look at Hamilton County.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Noblesville's going to, Hebert from Carmel's there now. He's a good coach. He won a couple state titles. He's going to get them rolling like they've never rolled before. You got Westville has just kind of become the king of the north side. Zionsville's growing as a community. They're when they were in 5A, they were in the state championship 2 years straight. You got Carmel. But, those schools aren't very far away from each other.
And, by the way, Guerin Catholic's
you
right
got
there.
Guerin, Brebeuf.
Yeah.
I mean, all those schools up there, depending on the level, the class that they're in, they're good, solid programs. And so, for the first time in a while, from a geographical perspective, I'm like, okay, we kind of sit on an island, and in this particular case, it might be a good thing.
Yeah. That's an interesting take. You are right, though. I think you're going to see bigger number of kids after this first year. I think it passed so late, and some kids are probably halfway through their summer workouts with their current team or something like that. But you could easily see that after this season's over, if somebody's not happy or whatever, then you got the free-for-all possibly of that, and I don't think that's what anybody wants to see, but that's what you're possibly going to get when you open things up like that.
I almost wish, and I know the legislature got involved, but I wish it would have been a bigger room of people, sitting down and, okay, what's really the issue? And if you look at Center Grove, I mean, people don't probably believe this, but we've had, just in football, tremendous amount of players leave our program and go, maybe to a smaller school where they could play. Arjun Loth comes to mind. He's playing at, we got a touchdown here. Arjun Loth ended up going to Indian Creek, and he's now playing at Indiana Wesleyan, playing college football, had a really nice career at Indian Creek. He was never going to play here. It's not suggesting that he was a bad player. He just was behind two really, really solid players. When he went, we didn't fight it. Center Grove, from a football perspective, never fights it. If you want to leave, leave. And we don't want you to, but it's time to go. You got to go. And I think what happened is too many athletes throughout the state of Indiana left, and then you got one story on one end, one story on the other end, and no one knew, and then it got blocked. And it's still about the kid. We got to be about the athlete, and I think they could have maybe kept things the way they were with a little bit of tweaks, and it wouldn't be quite like it is now. So I don't know what the right fix is, but I know when Coach was in Florida, he said it was rampant, and you could lose your team overnight. And I remember when Coach New was the coach at Ball State. Eli went up for a spring practice. He hadn't attended Ball State yet, and we were talking to him like, "Are you happy spring ball's over?" And he goes, "I don't know. I don't know how to answer that." And I'm like, "Well, what do you mean?" He goes, I don't know who's going to be on our team in the fall. I'm going to wake up tomorrow, and we could probably have 30 people in the transfer portal, and I have no idea." So, there's some goods that can come from it, but you just hope that the bads don't outweigh it. And then I think about basketball and baseball and some of these other sports. There was a really good 400 runner at Whiteland a few years ago. I mean, really good. And Whiteland doesn't have a track team that's like, say, a Center Grove. And I kind of used him as an example. Historically, year in, year out, Center Grove is fighting for a state championship in the 4x4. And if you had him on that team, they probably win it for sure. I think we maybe got second or third. With him on the team, he wins it. And, so what goes through a kid's mind? What is he? He wants to win a state title too. And if he drives 10 minutes west, he has that opportunity. Is that what's going to happen? I'm not saying it's right, but I mean those are the things that I think people gotta look at. And I don't know. I think about New Pal. I mean, New Pal's pretty strategically set between Franklin Central, Mount Vernon, and Warren. Are they going to pick up a lot of guys? I mean, you got a coach over there, Kyle Routh, that runs an incredible football program, very successful. A lot of guys go to college. Why wouldn't you, right? I mean, those are the things I think they got to look at. And I kind of feel bad for the IHSA. They're put in a tough spot. It's just what it is, and we're going to have to see it play out.
Well, and I think another part of that is, and you already referenced it, how Coach Moore, he's always been down at the Bantam programs watching those young kids, on Saturdays. But now it's even putting more of an onus on those coaches. It's already mostly a year-round process, but high school coaches now and multiple high school coaches are going to have to make sure they're taking care of their own kids and making sure 100%. They're constantly keeping contact with those guys and make sure they know what's going on with them, and that just makes their job even more tough than it already is.
It does, and I don't know if that's fair to the coaches in all sports. I know Guilfoy's sitting down here. I've been meaning to ask him. I mean, think about baseball. A lot of times it comes down to you got to have pitching, right? We always say you got to have pitching. So you got a good pitcher at maybe a smaller school, and they can win with him. But if depending on how the sectionals work and when you have the pitching, he might not be available, right?
Starting through baseball.
And so if you're a parent and you're a kid and you want to win,
right?
Do you go to another school that has a little bit better pitching than what so you can get past that next game? I mean, that's a pretty realistic point of view, right? And the key is it's open now. I don't have to move. Logistically, you could drive from Fort Wayne Carroll down to Center Grove right now and play. I'd say it's going to happen, but I mean, think about that. Right. That's crazy.
People tune in to watch a scrimmage and they get deep thoughts by Aaron Holt.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
Kevin.
A lot of the backups. These are a lot of your freshmen, if you will. These are the guys who are going to.
Wishmeyer's throwing some really good balls tonight.
Wishmeyer's
looked impressive. He might not have all been completed, but he's throwing some really, really solid footballs tonight.
Well, and I think you've got, 3 quarterbacks in that freshman class. Wishmeyer's probably going to be the backup here on varsity, plus play some JV, and then you got a couple others that are going to be JV and freshmen as well. So,
Aaron, we saw a nice run by 46. Emmett Anderson, another freshman running back.
Yep.
And then another one in the backfield right here, and Cameron Trice.
Well, and we were talking about the freshmen earlier. Big in numbers. Handful of kids have been, at this point, moved up to a degree that they're getting reps here tonight, and yet the freshman team without those guys are still pretty strong.
Yeah.
So that's a class that I think, we can all be excited about. And again, we got to reload. We just got to keep reloading. And right now we got it figured out.
So that does conclude tonight's controlled scrimmage between Center Grove and Brownsburg. Again, preseason poll, Center Grove number 2 in the coaches poll, Brownsburg number 1. And so your 2 top teams right here doing some work, get on some film. Coaches go to work, start looking at the film work, and next week both teams will kick off the regular season. Center Grove goes to Warren Central, and for Brownsburg, they're going to be at home against a team from Maryland. They're going to play Archbishop Spalding out of Maryland next Friday night.
You think Coach Moore's talking to Coach Hart about hopefully you're not playing the Baltimore Ravens like we had to play last year
in Week 9?
One of those guys that was part of that Baltimore Raven team at free safety that literally took the life out of Hennessy last year. They're talking about him possibly starting for IU right now.
Wow.
They said if he doesn't start, he's going to get a lot of. He's turning people's heads.
Yeah,
and,
he turned
mine. When he
year.
hit Hennessy, I felt like I got hit.
Before we head out, we want to say thank you to, again, Hot Box here in Greenwood, providing our pregame meal tonight. Sean Guilfoy, thank you for coordinating that. And Aaron Holt, Gridiron President, thanks for joining us on the stream here tonight. It's going to be an exciting season.
Look forward to it. Can't wait for this thing to get going. Great scrimmage tonight between 2 great programs, and it's football season. It's time to go. It's officially. This is what kicks it off. You go there, you go to basketball, college, high school, the whole thing. This is just awesome.
Rick Embry, some final thoughts?
Most important thing that I saw tonight, Kevin, is it appeared that neither side had any injuries. So obviously there might be some sore kids tomorrow morning, but that's okay. It's just you didn't see anything where it's like, oh crap, that didn't just happen. So I think that's the key thing. Like Aaron said, 2 great programs, and it's very possible that these 2 teams are going to be facing off again come semi-state time if things go according to what the rankings say. But a great night, and let's get ready for some football.
Sounds great, Rick, and we'll be talking to you soon. Thank you. So again, wonderful controlled scrimmage tonight by 2 great programs, Brownsburg and Center Grove. Tonight, Center Grove football coverage was produced by CG Sports Network. Our presenting sponsor was IU Health. Once again, Center Grove will kick off the 2025 season at Warren Central next Friday at 7 o'clock. Our next web stream coming up tomorrow, we'll have Center Grove Girls Soccer hosting East Central at 11:30. Until tomorrow, this is Kevin Conrad for Rick Embry, Aaron Holt, our executive producer, Austin Tyke, and our spotter tonight, Sean Guilfoy, saying good night, everyone, from Ray Skillman Stadium at Center Grove High School.